and welcome to She-Fi. This is a show where we talk about science fiction, TV and movies, also comic books, etc., all that good stuff from a woman's perspective. We're your hosts. I'm Sarah.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And today we're going to be talking about Star Trek Renegades.
Make no mistake, you will be hunted.
That's the way we like it.
Amy, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Star Trek Renegades is an independent, fan-funded, internet sci-fi TV series. Basically, the pilot episode has been released. It's available to be watched on YouTube. Okay, so basically the premise of this show is that when a new enemy threatens the Earth, Starfleet Federation is unable to do anything about it due to the Prime Directive. So therefore, a new elite undercover team consisting of basically rogues and outcasts and criminals has to come to the rescue to defend the Earth.
A handful of ragtags.
And so that is the premise of the pilot.
Yeah.
Really cool. It's not the kind of Star Trek that you're used to seeing. So
yeah, definitely pretty different in tone from what we're accustomed to with Star Trek.
Totally. Very different. So the really cool thing about it is, did you want to talk about
the crowdfunding?
how it was fun?
Yeah, it's that's one of the coolest things about it. It was funded through a Kickstarter campaign and 2 Indiegogo campaigns. They raised over $240,000, which is pretty awesome. Which they used to, yay crowdfunding, woo!
Yay!
And they used that to produce their pilot episode, which is up on YouTube, and we've got the link to that in the description below.
Just click the link.
They brought back some actors from previous Star Trek shows, as well as just some really cool people. Just to name a few, there's Robert Picardo is in it. He plays Dr. Zimmerman, Dr. Louis Zimmerman, who was also in Star Trek Voyager. He also played in Voyager the holographic doctor who was created by Dr. Zimmerman.
I'm a doctor, not a database.
Tim Russ reprises his role as Tuvok. Walter Koenig reprises his role as Chekhov, which I thought was kind of funny because it takes place after the Voyager timeline. So how could Chekhov still be alive? There is a line where he says something about how his life is being extended by medical science, so I would say just go with it. Admiral Paris, played by Richard Hurd, makes an appearance as well. Icheb from Voyager shows up, and you see, when we see him in Voyager, he's still kind of a teenager. It's interesting to see him as a young adult. He's played by Manu Intirami, and I am sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. I apologize. Who else? Adrienne Wilkinson. Amy, did you want to talk a little about her?
Yeah, Adrienne Wilkinson, she's an important character in the Xenoverse. So in Xena Warrior Princess, she was Xena's daughter Eve. I think when she turned evil, she was Livia, and then when she was good, she was Eve. So it's really great to see Adrienne Wilkinson play such a leading role, in this new TV series, and she's just badass. So next, we wanted to kind of talk about, this is a very different Star Trek.
Yeah, for sure.
The kind of Star Trek you probably grew up with, the kind of Star Trek that you watched with your parents, and it was, on one of the regular cable stations. It's good for the whole family. This one's a little dark. I was at first calling it the Batman of Star Treks.
I'm Batman.
But Sarah and I were discussing it further, and because of the fact that the crew involved, they're like criminals and outcasts, then maybe it's more like the Firefly of Star Trek.
I am to misbehave.
That it's not the Star Trek Voyager, the Star Trek Next Generation, you know, it's a little darker than most.
For sure. Yeah, the Star Trek, the shows that we're used to are kind of, you know, very, very shiny and very squeaky clean in some ways, which is part of their charm. But this is different. And also, as we've been mentioning, it's the main characters are not Starfleet officers in this movie. It's this kind of band of misfits, and Starfleet itself is not portrayed in the same light that you're probably used to either.
I want to join Starfleet. I want it more than anything I've ever wanted in my life.
Also, we wanted to talk about, there's a lot of strong female characters in this movie. Like, you've got Captain Lexa Singh. You know, she's definitely a total badass, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
50 on the Cardassian.
You're a fool. 100 on the female.
And the last thing we wanted to mention, moving on from Star Trek, is Heroes Reborn coming up on the 24th is the premiere of that. And we will be covering it on Shi-Fi. So we highly recommend that you all check it out and then come check us out. That's it for this episode of Shi-Fi. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to tune in next week.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you then.